next one, the Interlude.
Ooh.
Now it's a nice little change, a little shift in beat.
Mm-hmm.
Gives me that like 90s vibe a little bit,
Oh,
you know.
yes.
Mhm.
That's what I was going for, yeah.
And then also the hammer Funko Pop
Ah!
makes an appearance in my mind. I sense it. Is it about, I know it's cute or whatever, but is it like about hooking up? You went from love and talking about the subconscious to trying to slide into something, and I wasn't going to figure out where we got to get here.
Listen, I wanted something fun, on the album, just listening to the whole track list. I wanted something that people can just like have a melody and vibe to. So, I mean, this has nothing to do with like, getting it on and stuff. Obviously, the lyrics a little bit vulgar, but it's about.
Okay, well then.
Listen. So I kind of wanted something a little bit more raw, This is kind of uh, like a moment in bringing, my fans into my reality as to how I get, these tracks out. It's kind of like a more, what is that word where, a more personal feel to it.
Like a candid, behind the scenes type of energy.
Right. So this is kind of like the process of me um, getting into it, finding a track, looking through my journal, and finding the right lyrics that go with the beat itself. So that's basically what Undeniable Interlude is.
And like I will say in the comic, you're chilling. It shows you chilling at home and stuff like that. Like, what do you do in your spare time? Just you by yourself? No drama, no anybody else, just you.
Right. Well, I tend to write in my journal for a while. I kind of just sit in my room, or sometimes I also go to the coffee shop just to drop down some notes about myself and how I feel and whatnot. So um, this is just basically just me being in my element. I don't usually like a lot of noise. A lot of people think I do because there's all these ladies screaming at me and whatnot. But I really would rather not be around that kind of mess. I like to keep to myself a lot, and a lot of people don't realize that about myself because they always see me out and about.
And you mentioned journaling and stuff like that, and in the track, it's like all these like tape recordings and that process that you're talking about. I wonder, and because I'm getting that 90s vibe, I think of like, you know, um, those old school like tapes
Right.
that like people would make like cassettes, like people would make like playlists on. Are there any playlists that you like making, or if you make
there's a bunch, yeah. So, back in the days, I don't know if you guys know about LimeWire, but I used to, rip out some songs on there, make a track, burn it on the CD, and, bump it in my car, But nowadays, you can just make playlists on Spotify and whatnot. But I'm very old fashioned, so I usually like to make cassette tapes or even CDs, a playlist, and give it to people as gifts.
I love that. I love that. Now the next song, Apologies. Apologies. Well, in the comic, I'm gonna start with the comic first here. Okay.
It's gonna be a little bit messy.
Let's start with we're gonna approach it in pieces, right? So,
right.
in the comic,
Uh-huh.
the feature was you tearing up a note from your ex. My question is, how are things now? And by pieces, I mean going directly into it. It's true.
Well, let's see. I guess For those of you, who know my history, you know that I have two kids named Aquarius and Slated. Don't ask me how I got those names because I didn't come up with them. But for a long time I've been taking care of them, and a few months ago finding out that they weren't biologically mine, uh, was the most devastating thing in the world. But I still love them like they were my own. Anyways, this comic is mostly showing. I don't want to get into it, but I guess I have to. But me and Paris aren't really talking. I've been kind of like taking care of the kids. And also my ex Cara, she actually helped these kids go out to boarding school and whatnot. But this comic kind of shows like my frustration as a single father. Having to provide for them, and making sure they get a good education and not ending up like their mom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
And
think
obviously,
me and Paris are on talking terms either. So.
right. No, I mean, you can't, I mean, you can hear it throughout the track. I feel like this
Mhm.
is like a breakup anthem type of thing.
Right.
So, would you have any tips for anybody who is like recently single or going through something similar
Just
that
don't
you
date
could
a
tell
crack addict. Yeah, just find yourself a good girl or something that's in the bookstores, and that works a 9 to 5 job or something
I don't know
like
about them
that.
bookstores. I don't know about them because crack can go anywhere.
Okay, not too much, but I mean, I guess just on a serious note, I would say for breakup purposes, or
Hmm.
what was your question again? Like, what's your
Like
advice?
how? Yeah, what's your advice? Like how would you deal with it, or what did you learn? Because it kind of shows like the emotion of what was going on, but I'm sure you're past it now. I mean, you've already
Right,
recorded it,
right.
right? Hmm.
Well, for me, I process in a different way. I like to keep to myself most of the time and process it through my journal. I've been going through therapy for quite some time. You've been through my journey with my rehab and all that stuff. It was just a crazy time for me. And just being around Paris kind of made it worse because I would relapse a lot because she stressed me out. But I would say the best way to process things is to write it down, or if you don't want to write it down, you can record yourself or something.
Hmm.
Just kind of get it out there. I mean,
Hmm.
other ways that you can express yourself is through songs, or drawing or something like that. But just find what works for you. I mean, I can only speak for myself. The journaling, all that stuff helps me out.
Mm. Now, Jesus makes an appearance, which I didn't know they were in the rap era. How is it
Well,
like working with them?
well, Jesus is my boy. Yeah, we go way back. It's funny because this is actually the second part series for a song. We had another song called "Forget." I mean, if you haven't listened to it, you can check it out on Spotify. It's up in there. But
Hmm.
me and Jesus kind of bonded over our breakup. Which is, to our surprise, both of our ex's name is Paris. So I thought this song would pay a lot of homage to finally choosing us and ourselves instead of moping and all that stuff. So that's basically what I mean, I've been collaborating with Jesus for quite some time already, but this track was it for me.
Right, right. Now, speaking of another featured song, let's get into Reason Why.
Mhm.
Okay, obviously we need to talk about it first. Vivica motherfucking Vaj.
Right, right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Miss Vivica Vaj.
How was it like working with her? I mean, how is she doing? Is the silicone holding
Oh.
up? What's going on? What's happening?
Okay, not too much on Vivica now, Sota. Well, me and Vivi go way back. Back in luxurious. I just have a lot of respect for her, and also I owe her a lot because she kind of got me into this like music game. We did have differences, back in Luxurious, but we kind of like brushed it off and talked it out and whatnot with each other back in the A. And Vivica is such a talented individual. She just the moment I sent her the track, I just immediately knew that she was gonna kill it. Once I heard this beat and I got mostly the chorus and the verse on there, I just immediately thought of Vivica. It was just like no brainer. But she dropped basically everything down in like maybe 10 seconds, and it was a hit. She's just very talented with her lyrics and whatnot. So I really appreciate her and her craftsmanship with getting stuff done and being on the album with me. Like, who would have thought that Miss Vivica Vaj, my old boss, when I was in security back in Luxurious, is now making songs with me. It's kind of crazy.
Times change. I'm telling you, times change.
It really does. We grow and we learn.
Now, in the comic, you talked about going to coffee shops and things like that, and you definitely get the sense here because, like, you're in a coffee shop, right? Or, with your journal, and you're looking down at your phone.
Right.
Okay. Bing, 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 bing. I'm gonna leave it for them next. Who's up in them DMs?
I can't. I can't. There's nobody tied to these DMs. It's just a generalized thing, So the comment goes over just basically my everyday life. I like flirting and texting with people all the time. But sometimes there are some girls out there that get me out of my cool, and I find myself blushing. But this song, it's funny. It was actually supposed to be about my addiction, but when I heard the beat,
I mean, go ahead. I mean, we're on the same wavelength. Go ahead.
It was supposed to be about my addiction, but it ended up actually turning into like a R&B love song, which is so funny to me because, um, I mean, if you hear the lyrics, it's basically about loving somebody so much that you're so addicted to them. It's like you gotta have them all the time. So.
But like now, since we're on the same wavelength, that was my next kind of question, right? Because like, in the sense that I get two different vibes simultaneously, right? In my mind, just knowing you.
Yes.
Now, when we're talking about, it's like in one hand, you were like, as you described, like you're addicted to like a person, right? But I also get the sense that you're like talking about partying, or do one of those things feed into the other? You know what I mean?
It's like a whole bunched up general like addiction, like drugs, alcohol.
Because like in a way, and then in the track, you're drinking and smoking. I mean, as an artist, I kind of pick up on these little things, and you're like, talking about a line, and you're like, it's giving very party vibes. It's giving very, one addiction meets another addiction, which is this person you're kind of talking about.
Right.
Is that something that is like a theme where it's like one feeds into the other?
It is actually because in my journal, this was back in the A. We were at the Galaxy nightclub. I had a few drinks, and with those drinks, it's like couple sips. It takes you to another place. It just gets you right there, and then you get the drugs and all that stuff, and it's just like it's a whole mess. So it is like a whole party vibe, but like love, if that makes sense.
No, I get it. Now you talk about, and we talked about kind of like your journey with sobriety and things like that from
Mm-hmm.
alcohol. How are those things coming along? I know I saw you in the club
Okay.
long ago, and I don't have vivid
Right.
memories for some
Mm-hmm.
reason,
Mm-hmm.
but I know I saw you in the club. Any
Y-
tips for anybody trying to like struggle or who is struggling with that or
I think it's very important to have people who support you and, your journey and all that stuff. When the first time around during my sobriety, a lot of people tended to make a lot of like jokes and stuff like that, and would give me drinks just to see what I would do and all that. But after this rehab retreat, it really grounded me into the foundation that I need to be in, and just having the support around you, like people telling you not to do it, it really goes a long way because you can't really do all these things by yourself.
right, right. And if I had my way, and I do keep an eye on you when we
Right, right, right.
I'm just saying, I don't know what links I would go to make sure
Mm.
you were doing okay.
I
I'm
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I'm not the most sober, so
Right, right. It's like blind leading the blind.
not too much. Not too much.
Right.
So the last song,
Oh,
let's talk
it's my
about.
favorite on the track. Yeah.
Now I've noticed, right,
Mhm.
throughout the comic and like some of your themes. Obviously, it's an album about love. There's like a rose, right? And I'm sure by now everybody's kind of seen, the comic in full and this last chapter.
Mhm.
What does sort of this rose symbolize, right? Because I see it continually through here, and I'm noticing things about the red hair of the person. Is it a symbol for the person you're fantasizing for in
Um,
Mexico, or is it like what is it? Is it just you? Is it an amalgamation?
you
What does it mean?
know, the rose it kind of symbolizes myself. Um, being in the first comics, you see the rose kind of it's still in that blooming stage, and when when you take time and when you truly love somebody, and you grow your roots out and whatnot, you bloom into this like beautiful thing, which to me symbolizes, love in its purest form. So me, in that comic, picking that rose up and giving it to that girl, it's kind of like me symbolizing that, I'm ready. I'm ready to commit. I'm ready to, you know, take everything that I have and just be with you. So that's basically what the rose symbolizes. Is just my heart.
Mm. Mhm. And when it comes to like your journey, right?
Hmm.
Because there's like a door that they're kind of walking towards this like new chapter
Right.
in love and in being like an artist, right? Can you like share your hopes about the future or where these things are going or where you're at right now? I mean, this is kind of like stamped in time, but like what are you looking forward to?
Well, so the door kind of symbolizes, that mm, that opportunity, I guess you could say. In
Mm,
every part of our lives, we always have a door there. It's just depending on if it's about you being ready to walk through that door or ready to close or open the door. And
mhm,
when in the first beginning of the comics, I walk through another door. I see this other door, which kind of like, ties in with the whole Scott Pilgrim stuff. I'm not sure if you watched the whole movie before, but this door always exists in that movie. And towards the end, when, Scott and Ramona, become an item, they walk through this door together, and that's kind of what it symbolizes for me. Is just having these opportunities and being blessed to even have these opportunities in front of me, and being able to walk towards those opportunities with somebody who I find as equal.
Mhm.
But in
And
terms of internal hope for myself, I would say, I'm very open to whatever door is in front of me and whatever looks appealing to me. Obviously, I'll take a peek at it, and if I don't like it, then I can always go to another one.
mhm. Mhm. And like it like between the song and like the comic, right? Kind of shows
Mhm.
you finally ready to quote unquote like wake up. Because
Right.
there's been like this theme about like dreaming and another reality and type of that, or like maybe like waking up from a dream and things
Right.
like that. And we talked about manifestation. Are your like dreams coming through in this way, or is it just sort of like you're kind of ready for that new chapter, and if it comes, you've expressed yourself
Mhm.
already and you're ready for the future? Which is it?
You
Or
know,
it
it's
could be
fun. It's funny you mentioned manifestation. I was actually gonna talk about that too, but yeah. So I'm not sure if the audience knows about manifestation, but it always starts off with a dream. You know, being able to flow in that dream, be in that dream, and just enjoying it for what it is. And there is a moment in your manifestation where you actually have to pick yourself up, take what you learn, and go with it. You know what I mean? And take the lessons that you learn with you and make it into reality. So this is kind of like you know uh, leading up to the beginning to now is the end of like internal hope is just having that manifestation finally coming into fruition by me going through the door and being ready to you know take whatever it is, whatever circumstance there is in the world to get to that point.
mm, I love that.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, that's all the questions I really have. I mean, I'm excited to see where this takes you, how these manifestations are turning out, and like the album is really good. So, I would say just listen to it now, learn some lessons from, of a lover boy.
Is me, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and it's interesting to see. It's really, I loved it. It was really good. And yeah, I'm just excited to see, how this all plays out.
Yes, yes. I'm ready to launch it out on July 3rd. Obviously, when people hear this, it's just gonna be you know sprinkled throughout the day. But I'm excited as well. I'm ready to really showcase who I am as an artist. And showcase something a little bit different and a little bit more vulnerable. Because I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I need to express myself to everyone so that way people can understand that they can do that too.
Well, you heard it here first. I
July 3rd, yeah?
third F boy is no
Oh, not too
lover boy.
fast, Sota.
Lover
Maybe I
boy.
might drop another album called F Boy. We'll see, we'll
Oh.
see. I'll play some nasty songs for all of you.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know about you, but my Boost Mobile signal is
Oh, not again,
testy.
yeah.
The
I
minutes
literally
are going.
told you. I literally told you to pay for your phone bill, so that maybe if you clock into Suiza, maybe you would have some money, yeah?
Well, if they would pay me. Anyways.
Okay.
Oh, bye.